In the shadowed expanse between stars, the UHS Protector glided silently, a specter in the cosmic void. Admiral Liam Fox stood motionless at the command deck, his gaze locked on the deep black outside the viewport, where space unfolded in its quiet majesty. The calm was misleading, a stark contrast to the storm brewing just beyond their sensors' reach. "Report," Fox's voice cut through the low murmur of the command deck, crisp and devoid of doubt. His senior officer, Lieutenant Harrow, turned from the analysis console, his face etched with lines of concern. "We've detected an anomaly, sir. It's massive, closing in fast from the Oort cloud. No transponder codes. It doesn't match any known configurations," Harrow reported, his voice steady despite the gravity of his words. Fox's eyes narrowed, a spark igniting in the depths of his steely gaze. He paced forward, each step measured, absorbing the weight of the situation. "Visuals," he commanded, and the screen flickered, revealing the ghostly outline of an armada, vast and ominous, moving with purposeful intent toward Earth. "Options?" Fox asked, turning to face his crew, a mix of seasoned veterans and young officers. They looked to him, their expressions a mix of resolve and apprehension. "We could go dark, try to evade detection while we gather more intel," suggested Commander Tyne, a man whose experiences had silvered his hair but not dulled his strategic acumen. "Number, prepare for silent running, but keep our sensors at full capacity. We need to know what we're dealing with before we make any moves," Fox decided, his command resonating quietly across the room. The crew nodded, turning to their stations to execute his orders with silent efficiency. As the Protector slipped further into the shadow of a nearby moon, masking its presence from the approaching fleet, Fox remained at the viewport, his mind racing through scenarios. Each possibility sketched a different future, and none without cost. In the silence of deep space, where the stars offered no counsel and the dark void held countless secrets, Admiral Liam Fox prepared to face an unknown enemy. It was a confrontation that might define the fate of humanity, and in this moment of calm before the storm, he understood the real weight of command. This moment, quiet yet charged with imminent danger, set the stage for a cosmic chess game on which the stakes were nothing less than the survival of an entire planet. As the UHS Protector nestled in the lunar shadow, the silence of space was an oppressive shroud. Admiral Liam Fox maintained his vigil at the viewport, eyes piercing the darkness where the alien armada loomed like a silent tide. The sterile chill of the command deck was punctuated only by the soft clicks of switches and the muted whirring of computers processing streams of data. Lieutenant Harrow approached with light steps, his presence unobtrusive yet vital. "Admiral, we've intercepted partial communications. They're encrypted, but we're making progress," he whispered, handing over a tablet displaying the fragmented signals. Fox took the tablet, his fingers brushing over the cold, smooth surface. The characters on the screen were alien, complex patterns that hinted at a language both mathematical and dense. "Keep at it," he replied, his voice a low rumble that barely broke the quiet tension. Outside, the cosmos unfolded in a tapestry of black and silver, the stars distant witnesses to the unfolding drama. Fox's nostrils filled with the recycled air of the command deck, a faint trace of lubricant in the background, a reminder of the ship's constant readiness. Commander Tyne leaned over the radar, his eyes squinting as he adjusted the settings. "They're holding formation, sir. No advances since the last scan." His report was factual, his tone reserved, a balance to Fox's intense focus. "We need more than just their location. What are they waiting for?" Fox mused aloud, his voice carrying a mix of frustration and curiosity. The taste of stale coffee lingered on his tongue, a bitter reminder of the long hours already spent in alert. Suddenly the ship trembled subtly as the lunar gravity shifted. The sensation was almost imperceptible, but to the seasoned crew, it was a silent alarm. Fox glanced at the navigation officer, who nodded slightly, an acknowledgement of the moon's influence on their cloaked position. "Adjust our orbit, keep us covered," Fox ordered. The navigation officer responded with a swift tap on his console, coordinates updated with precision. In the background, soft beeps echoed as new data populated the screens. Harrow returned, a slight crease in his brow. "We've cracked a bit more, Admiral. It seems they're using a triphasic encryption pattern. Unusual, but not unbreakable." "Good. Accelerate the decryption. Every piece of information is crucial," Fox responded, turning back to the view. The alien fleet, a cluster of shadows against the starlit void, was more than a threat. It was a mystery cloaked in danger. The subtle scent of metal and electricity served as a constant reminder of the space that confined them, yet it was this very environment that sharpened their senses. Each officer was acutely aware of the ship's life-supporting hum, a silent symphony that kept the void at bay. As Fox continued to survey the void, his thoughts were clear. Whatever these aliens sought, whatever their purpose in coming to Earth's doorstep, he and his crew would be ready. The Protector, a silent guardian in the moon's embrace, was more than a ship. It was a declaration of humanity's resolve. The next moves in this celestial game of strategy were critical, and Fox was determined to lead with precision and foresight. As the UHS Protector subtly adjusted its orbit, the silence of space was pierced by a sudden burst of static through the communication array. Lieutenant Harrow's fingers danced swiftly across his console, isolating the signal. The static gave way to a structured cascade of alien phonetics, a voice as cold and impersonal as the void itself. Admiral Liam Fox listened intently, his senses attuned to the alien cadence, each syllable a frozen wave crashing against the shore of human understanding. "They're attempting to communicate," Harrow announced, his voice low and measured to avoid startling the tense crew. "Patch it through the main speakers. Let's hear what our guests have to say," Fox commanded, his posture rigid with anticipation. The command deck filled with the alien's voice, a series of modulated tones that were at once musical and dissonant, like wind chimes in a storm. Commander Tyne, standing by the holographic star map, his eyes reflecting the myriad points of light, translated the message with the help of the ship's linguistic AI. "They claim peaceful intent," he interpreted, "but advise us to keep our distance for our own safety." The irony of the warning wasn't lost on Fox, who tasted the metallic tinge of skepticism on his tongue. "Peaceful, yet they enter our system uninvited and armed," he mused, the flavor of distrust thick in his mouth. Fox turned to face his crew, their faces a blend of resolve and curiosity. "Prepare a response. Let them know we are guardians of this system, and while we do not seek conflict, we are ready to defend our territory," he declared, his directive resonating clearly across the room. As Harrow encoded the reply, the scent of coffee mingled with the ever-present tang of recycled air, a grounding reminder of the ship's enclosed life system. The familiar touch of the console's smooth, cool surface under his hands brought a momentary comfort to Harrow as he sent their message into the abyss. Outside, the stars watched silently, their ancient light a tapestry behind the looming shapes of the alien ships. The darkness between was a palpable entity, a shroud that cloaked both threat and mystery. Fox returned to the viewport, his gaze piercing the celestial darkness. The taste of imminent confrontation hung heavy on his breath, a bitter draught in the quiet before a storm. He felt the ship's subtle vibration under his feet, a silent testament to the life and energy thrumming through its veins, ready to respond at his command. In this moment of cosmic brinkmanship, the Protector was more than a ship. It was a sentinel at the gate, a shield against the unknown. The quiet whisper of circulating air was a soft chorus in the background, a counterpoint to the tension that held the crew in its grip. With each passing second, the gap between human and alien narrowed, not just across the void of space, but in the understanding of each other's intentions. This was the delicate dance of diplomacy and defense, played out on the universal stage under the watchful eyes of 1,000 stars. Fox knew that the balance they struck here could tip the scales in ways none of them could yet predict. The fragile balance between diplomacy and defense teetered as Admiral Liam Fox processed the alien response. Their words, designed to reassure, seemed laced with an underlying threat that scratched at the back of his mind like thorns on silk. Standing by the viewport, Fox watched the alien fleet, a cluster of dark silhouettes outlined against the cosmos, their presence an oppressive shadow cast over Earth's doorstep. "Admiral, we have more incoming data," Lieutenant Harrow announced, his voice cutting through the thick atmosphere of the command deck. He handed a tablet to Fox, its screen alight with intercepted communications and sensor readouts, pulses of data that painted a picture of caution and intrigue. Fox reviewed the information, his fingers brushing against the cold, smooth surface of the tablet. The data was a symphony of signals, a mix of encrypted communications that the crew had begun to decode. "They're probing our defenses, subtle but definite. They want to see how we react," Fox mused, his words tinged with the bitterness of betrayal felt in the cold strategy of an unknown foe. Turning to Commander Tyne, Fox's expression hardened. "Initiate a shadow maneuver. Let's mirror their probes with our own. It's time we learned more about our uninvited guests." His command was met with a nod, Tyne's face set in determination as he relayed the orders. The crew moved with practiced efficiency, their movements a ballet in the confines of the steel fortress. As the ship adjusted its position, the taste of anticipation was sharp on Fox's tongue, a stark contrast to the stale air circulating through the protector. Outside, the vacuum of space was a silent witness to the dance of warships. The protector's sensors cast invisible nets, threads of detection that sought any crack in the alien armor. Each signal returned carried with it the scent of the unknown, data that filled the air with the electric charge of potential discovery. The darkness of space enveloped the scene, the stars dimmed by the strategic maneuvers of two advanced civilizations on the brink of confrontation. Fox felt the weight of his command, a burden he carried not just in his mind but in the very sinews of his body, standing firm against the pressure of impending conflict. In the silence that followed their counter-maneuvers, Harrow's voice again broke the stillness. "Sir, we've detected anomalies in their propulsion systems, technology we've never seen. It could explain their sudden appearance in our system." Fox's eyes gleamed with a mixture of concern and curiosity. "Prepare a detailed analysis. I want options," he ordered, his voice echoing slightly in the command deck, a reminder of the gravity of their situation. The sound of his crew tapping at their stations was a quiet drumbeat, an undercurrent to the tension that filled the room. As the alien ships continued their silent orbit, a tableau of cosmic chess unfolded. Each move was calculated, every silence measured. The deep cold of space seeped through the viewport, a chilling reminder of the isolation that space warfare brought. Here, in the vast arena of the universe, each decision echoed with the potential to resonate through history. The Protector, a lone sentinel, stood watchful and ready, her crew united under the weight of their silent oath: to protect, to serve, and to survive. As the stale air of anticipation circulated through the UHS Protector's command deck, the screen flickered with the results of their latest surveillance. Admiral Liam Fox, standing resolute, watched the alien fleet's cryptic maneuvers, each move unveiling layers of strategic depth. "Lieutenant Harrow, status on the propulsion anomalies?" Fox queried, his voice calm yet carrying an undercurrent of urgency that matched the thrum of the ship's life support systems. "Analysis complete, sir. Their technology harnesses quantum fluctuations. It seems they manipulate space-time fabric directly, which could explain their stealthy approach," Harrow reported, his tone reflecting a mix of awe and concern. "Quantum fluctuations. That's beyond anything we've tested," Commander Tyne chimed in, his brow furrowed as he absorbed the implications. The taste of bitter coffee lingered in his mouth, a stark contrast to the metallic tang that pervaded the atmosphere, reminding them of the ship's enclosed environment. Fox nodded, his mind racing with possibilities. "If they can bend space-time, our current strategies might be inadequate. We need a new approach, a way to turn their advantage against them." His gaze shifted back to the viewport, where the blackness of space stretched infinite and inscrutable, dotted with stars that bore silent witness to their plight. Outside, the alien fleet adjusted their formation subtly, a silent ballet in the void, their ships shimmering slightly as if mirroring the starlight. It was a beautiful yet eerie display, the beauty of the cosmos juxtaposed with the silent threat of the unknown. Sensors picked up a spike in energy output from their lead ship, Harrow added, his voice breaking the contemplation. They might be preparing something big. Or it's a bluff to gauge our response. Either way, we can't sit idle. Deploy the spectral cloaks on our drones. Let's give them something to puzzle over, Fox decided, his decision punctuated by the crisp click of his boots on the cold metal floor as he paced thoughtfully. The crew sprang into action, sending out drones disguised with spectral cloaks that mimicked the cosmic background, making them nearly invisible to the naked eye. Each drone drifted silently into the void, their presence as ghostly as the whispers of air circulating through the ship. In the silence that followed, the subtle scent of machinery filled the command deck, a constant reminder of the technological fortress they inhabited. The crew's eyes were glued to the monitors, watching as the first drone approached the alien fleet, its signals cloaked in the cosmic hue. Suddenly, the main screen displayed a burst of static, then cleared to reveal a live feed from the drone. They watched in real time as the alien fleet responded. A pulse of energy radiated from the alien command ship, distorting space around it. A display of power that was both mesmerizing and terrifying. Fox's jaw tightened. Record everything, every reaction, every pulse. We may not understand their technology fully, but we can learn from it, he commanded, his voice a sharp command that cut through the tension. As the drone feed flickered with the force of the alien pulse, the mystery of their intentions hung heavy in the room. The Protector's crew stood on the brink of a revelation, each member acutely aware that the outcome of this encounter could redefine humanity's place in the cosmos. The silent dance of interstellar brinkmanship continued, with Earth's fate suspended in the quiet balance of the unknown. The display flickered once more under the relentless pulse of the alien ship, a tangible reminder of the escalating encounter. Admiral Liam Fox's eyes remained locked on the visuals, the cool blue light casting sharp shadows across his stoic face. Beside him, Lieutenant Harrow worked fervently, his hands moving with precision as he sifted through the influx of data. Admiral, the energy pulse was a test. They're probing our capabilities and defenses, Harrow deduced, his voice steady despite the underlying tension. Fox nodded, processing this information with a calm that belied the storm brewing within. And our cloaked drones? He asked, his voice echoing slightly in the quiet of the command deck. Still operational and transmitting. The aliens haven't detected them yet. It seems their sensory capabilities may not pick up on spectral distortions, Harrow responded, a hint of surprise in his tone at this unexpected advantage. Good. Use this. I want a full spectral analysis of their energy emissions. Find a pattern or weakness, Fox directed, his command slicing through the uncertainty like a beacon. The deck was alive with the subtle sounds of operation, the soft clicks of keyboards, the quiet breaths of the crew, and the faint whir of processors. Each noise was a thread in the fabric of their concerted effort, weaving a response to the unknown challenge ahead. Outside, the alien fleet maintained their position, a silent constellation of potential devastation hanging against the backdrop of the universe. Their ships, sleek and enigmatic, reflected the starlight, creating a tableau both haunting and mesmerizing. Commander Tyne approached, his presence a calm force as he joined Fox at the viewport. If they're using quantum fluctuations, we might counteract with a phased pulse of our own. Disrupt their manipulation of space-time. Give them a taste of their own medicine, he suggested, his insight cutting through the complexity of their situation. Fox considered this, tasting the tang of possibility on his tongue. Prepare the pulse. Coordinate with engineering. I want it ready to deploy on my command, he decided, his decision firm, leaving no room for doubt. In the depths of the ship, the engines remained silent, the usual thrum of power subdued by the tactical necessity of stealth. The air was crisp and cool, recycled continuously but tinged with a hint of adrenaline that seemed to seep from the very walls. As Harrow relayed Fox's orders, a subtle scent of ozone drifted through the command deck, a byproduct of the high-energy computations needed to analyze the alien technology. It was a smell that spoke of raw power and hidden dangers, reminding them of the stakes at play. The crew's movements were a dance of shadows and light, each step and action choreographed by necessity and urgency. The data from the drones began to form a clearer picture, each piece a potential key to unlocking the intentions and capabilities of their formidable foes. Fox stood silent among his crew, his gaze returning to the stars beyond. The mystery of the alien fleet was like a dark ocean, and they were adrift in its vast uncertainty, searching for a lighthouse in the form of weakness or strategy that could guide them safely through the storm. As the specter of confrontation grew larger, so too did the weight of command on Fox's shoulders, a burden he carried not just for his crew, but for all of humanity. As Admiral Liam Fox oversaw the preparations for the phased pulse, the tension on the UHS Protector's command deck was palpable. The air was thick with the quiet focus of the crew, each member acutely aware of the critical nature of their next actions. The soft glow of monitors illuminated intent faces, casting long shadows that danced subtly with the flicker of displays processing streams of complex data. "Engineering reports the pulses primed and ready for deployment," Lieutenant Harrow announced, his voice breaking the concentrated silence with an update that brought a collective, albeit silent sigh of relief from the surrounding crew. Fox nodded, his gaze fixed on the holographic display that now showed a simulation of their plan. "Initiate on my mark. Now," he commanded, his voice a controlled burst that unleashed a wave of activity across the deck. Outside, the vastness of space became the silent battleground as the Protector deployed the phased pulse. Invisible and silent, the pulse rippled through the vacuum, distorting the fabric of space-time around the alien fleet with a precision born of human ingenuity and desperate necessity. The effect was immediate and subtle. The alien ships faltered, their sleek forms shimmering as if caught in an unseen storm. On the Protector, sensors monitored the disruption, their screens a flurry of new data streaming in real time. "Visual on main screen," Commander Tyne ordered, and the view shifted to show the alien reaction. Their formation, once so precise and daunting, now seemed to waver under the influence of the pulse. It was as if a painter had dragged his brush across a once immaculate canvas, blurring lines that had once been clear. Fox watched, a mix of hope and steely resolve playing across his features. "Status on their propulsion?" he queried, needing to know the extent of their success. "They've compensated, but efficiency is down by 40%. It's temporary, but it's given us an edge," Harrow replied, updating the tactical display to reflect the change. The scent of hot electronics filled the air, a byproduct of the ship's strained systems working overtime. Each officer was attuned to their consoles, the taste of adrenaline sharp on their tongues as they awaited further orders. In this game of cosmic cat and mouse, every moment was crucial. Fox's mind raced through scenarios, each potential move critical. Prepare to deploy a secondary wave. If they adapt to one, they'll struggle with two, he decided, his strategy unfolding with the calm certainty that came from years of command. As the crew set to work, the silence of space enveloped them once more. It was a deceptive calm, one that belied the intense operations taking place within the belly of the human ship. Each officer's movements were precise, the result of rigorous training and sheer determination not to be the first to blink in this interstellar standoff. The alien ships, now aware of the threat posed by the Protector, began to regroup, their movements cautious yet deliberate. It was clear they underestimated the humans, a miscalculation that Fox intended to exploit fully. "Keep them guessing, keep them off balance," Fox muttered to himself, watching as the stars bore witness to humanity's audacity. Here, against the backdrop of an indifferent universe, the tiny speck that was the Protector carved its name into the annals of space warfare, ready to strike again, as unpredictable as the void itself. Admiral Liam Fox watched intently as the alien fleet's response to their secondary wave began to materialize, their ship's outlines blurring on the main screen from the effects of the disruptive pulses. The alien command seemed to falter, revealing a hint of disarray amid their previously flawless formation. "Lieutenant Harrow, what's the current status of their propulsion systems?" Fox's voice cut through the soft whir of the ship's air recycling system, seeking clarity amidst the unfolding chaos. "They're struggling to maintain formation, sir. Our pulses have disrupted their space-time manipulation capabilities. They're down by another 30%, Harrow reported, his voice a mix of professional satisfaction and caution. "Perfect. Prepare for the next phase. Initiate Operation Silent Thunder," Fox commanded decisively, the reflection of the holographic displays flickering across his determined face. The operation was a bold maneuver designed to exploit the temporary vulnerability in the alien fleet, combining stealth drone attacks with a series of coordinated strikes from the Protector. As the crew executed his commands, the sensory details of the deck became a testament to their concerted effort. The tang of ionized air filled their nostrils, a byproduct of the high-energy weapon systems charging up for the assault. The taste of dryness in their mouths was palpable, a physical manifestation of the tension that gripped them. Outside, the vast canvas of space was punctuated by the silent ballet of drones, slipping undetected toward the alien ships. Their approach was cloaked not just by technology, but by the strategic brilliance of the human command, turning the void into a stage for a deadly dance. In the Protector's shadow, Commander Tyne watched the progress of the drones on his screen, his fingers poised above the controls, ready to give the final command. "Drones in position awaiting your go, Admiral." Tyne's voice was steady, almost serene against the backdrop of potential destruction. "Now, Commander, execute Silent Thunder," Fox ordered, his command resonating with the weight of imminent impact. The effect was immediate and devastating. The drones, acting as the first wave, collided silently with the outer hulls of the alien vessels, their payloads not explosives, but powerful electromagnetic pulses designed to cripple further the aliens' already faltering systems. On the command deck, cheers broke out as reports confirmed successful hits. However, Fox remained focused, his senses alert to every detail. The slight vibration of the deck beneath his feet told him of their own ship's readiness to engage, the sharp scent of ozone now replaced by the acrid edge of gunmetal heating as their main cannons charged. "Full assault now. Target their main command ship. Disable, don't destroy. We need them intact to understand their technology," Fox directed, his gaze locked on the main screen where the alien fleet was visibly reeling. As the Protector's cannons fired, the brilliant arcs of plasma cut through the darkness, a stark contrast to the silent approach of the drones. Each hit on the alien command ship was a burst of light against the infinite dark, a stark reminder of the fragility of life amidst the vastness of space. The crew held their breath, watching as the final assault unfolded. The alien ship, now crippled, drifted powerless. The mystery of their intentions and capabilities was closer to being unraveled, but so too was the anticipation of what danger still lay hidden in the void. The battle was far from over. It had merely entered a new phase. As the alien command ship drifted, crippled from the Protector's precise assault, an eerie quiet descended upon the command deck. Admiral Liam Fox stood motionless, his gaze locked on the screen displaying the now vulnerable enemy. The air was thick with a charged silence, the crew's soft breaths a faint whisper against the backdrop of a mission teetering on the brink of further unknowns. "Lieutenant Harrow, any reaction from the rest of their fleet?" Fox's voice sliced through the stillness, demanding an update. "No movements, sir. It seems they're regrouping, possibly reassessing their strategy given the new development," Harrow responded, his eyes not leaving the monitors as he analyzed incoming data streams. Fox's jaw tightened, the taste of victory bitter as he pondered their next move. "Keep a close watch. They're down but not out. Prepare for a counterstrike," he instructed, the weight of command resonating in his tone. Outside, the blackness of space enveloped the Protector, a vast ocean of darkness that hid both danger and opportunity. The distant stars shone impassively, their light a cold witness to the unfolding drama. Suddenly, a subtle shift in the ambient light of the command deck signaled an alert. Commander Tyne spoke up, his voice steady but laced with urgency. "Admiral, sensors detect a buildup of energy from the alien fleet. It's different from before, more concentrated, possibly offensive." Fox's senses sharpened, the faint scent of ionization from the ship's shields now mingling with the steeliness of resolve. "Visualize it. I want to see their formations," he commanded. The holographic display updated, showing the alien ships repositioning themselves into a tighter, more aggressive configuration. Their intent was now unmistakably hostile, the once silent void between the fleets crackling with the tension of impending conflict. "Options?" Fox queried, turning to face his senior officers, each of whom understood the gravity of their situation. "We could initiate a stealth retreat, use the asteroids for cover, and regroup," suggested Tyne, his suggestion hanging in the air like a lifeline in the vast sea of uncertainty. "No, we'll hold our position. Activate the secondary shield protocol and ready all cannons. If they want a battle, we'll make sure it's one they regret," Fox declared, his decision echoing with the firmness of titanium. As the crew hurried to implement his orders, the vibration of the ship's enhanced shields resonated subtly through the hull, a silent roar in the deadly quiet of space. The taste of metallic anticipation was sharp on everyone's tongues, a reminder of the thin line between survival and destruction. The alien energy surge materialized into a formidable beam of light, slicing through the darkness towards the Protector. The ship shuddered slightly under the impact against the shields, a testament to the enemy's power and the stark reality of the threat they faced. "Return fire!" Fox ordered, his command cutting through the crackle of strained shields. The Protector responded, its cannons unleashing a fury of return fire, bright lances of energy that punctured the space between them and the alien fleet. The exchange became a thunderous dance of light and power, a ballet of destruction that painted the void with streaks of incandescent fury. As the battle raged, Fox remained anchored to his spot on the deck, his senses fully engaged in the orchestration of warfare. Each explosion, a bright flower blooming against the night, was a stark reminder of the fragile line they walked between dominance and catastrophe in the infinite battlefield of space. The battle, intense and unwavering, raged on as the UHS Protector's shields absorbed the violent onslaught of the alien beam. Admiral Liam Fox stood resolute, watching the vibrant exchange of energy that lit up the void like a cosmic storm. The ship rocked gently, a testament to the ferocity outside, while inside the air crackled with the electric charge of battle stations at full alert. "Lieutenant Harrow, damage report!" Fox called out over the cacophony of alerts and strategic operations, his voice a firm anchor amid the chaos. "Shields holding at 70%, but we can't sustain this for long." "The energy drain is massive," Harrow replied, his voice strained yet clear, his fingers flying over his console to reroute power and bolster their defenses. Fox's mind raced, processing each piece of information with tactical precision. "Prepare to execute a fallback maneuver. I want us out of their direct line of fire while we reassess," he ordered, the taste of urgency bitter on his tongue as he considered their dwindling options. The Protector's engines ignited with a controlled burn, shifting the colossal vessel behind a nearby asteroid. The maneuver was not retreat, but repositioning, a strategic pause in the relentless tempo of combat. From this new vantage point, the stars seemed to watch in silent judgment, their light cold and distant against the stark blackness of space. In the shadow of the asteroid, the crew's tension was palpable. The scent of overheated circuits and recycled air mingled, filling the command deck with the tangible aroma of high-stakes warfare. Commander Tyne approached Fox, his presence a calm amidst the storm. "Admiral, this might give us the window we need to deploy the EMP mines. If we can disrupt their energy signatures, even briefly, it could give us the upper hand," Tyne suggested, his proposal cutting through the fog of war with a sliver of hope. Fox nodded, the gears of strategy turning behind his steely gaze. "Do it. Set up a minefield. Make it dense and unpredictable. When they pursue, they'll fly right into it," he decided, his voice imbued with the resolve that had seen them through countless skirmishes. As the crew set about deploying the EMP mines, the command deck was a hive of activity. Each officer played their part with precision, their movements a testament to the rigorous training and unspoken trust that bound them. The gentle vibration of the ship setting the mines in place was a soft rumble underfoot, a reminder of their ongoing fight for survival. Outside, the mines drifted silently into position, invisible sentinels waiting in the darkness. The alien fleet, momentarily stalled by the Protector's disappearance behind the asteroid, recalibrated their approach, unaware of the trap being laid in their path. Fox watched the tactical display, his senses alert to every shift in the dynamic battlefield. The tension in the air was sharp, like the aftertaste of adrenaline, as they waited for the alien fleet to make their next move. As the minutes stretched on, the anticipation grew. The crew was silent, each member keenly aware of the stakes. When the alien fleet finally moved, drawn by the lure of the Protector's last known trajectory, they sailed straight into the field of EMP mines. The resulting chaos was a silent explosion of light and confusion, the mines detonating in a brilliant cascade of energy that enveloped the alien ships. The sight was strangely beautiful, deadly arcs of electricity dancing across alien hulls, a deadly ballet set against the backdrop of an indifferent universe. Fox allowed himself a brief smile, watching as the alien advance faltered under the unexpected assault. "Maintain readiness," he instructed, knowing well that the battle was far from over. The mystery of the aliens' capabilities and their next move hung heavily in the void, a puzzle yet to be solved. The silent detonation of the EMP mines sent cascading arcs of energy rippling through the void, ensnaring the alien fleet in a web of electromagnetic disruption. Their sleek formations twisted, some ships spinning slightly off-axis as their controls faltered. Lights flickered erratically across their hulls, the calculated precision of their movements now reduced to fractured hesitation. Admiral Liam Fox leaned forward, his gaze locked onto the tactical display as data poured in. "Status on their systems?" he demanded, his voice a razor's edge. Lieutenant Harrow's fingers skimmed over the console, his eyes scanning the latest readings. "Direct hits on multiple vessels. Some have lost propulsion, others are scrambling to reroute power. Their formations are collapsing, but, sir, their flagship remains unaffected." Fox exhaled slowly, tasting the metallic sharpness of his own restraint. That ship, larger than the rest, stood firm while its fleet wavered, a lone mountain in the middle of a storm. "They anticipated this," he muttered, piecing together the implication. "Or they're more advanced than we thought." Commander Tyne crossed his arms, watching the display with narrowed eyes. "Either way, we have an opening. If we strike now, we can dismantle their fleet before they recover." Fox nodded, then turned to his weapons officer. "Prepare an alpha barrage. Target their command nodes and propulsion systems. Cripple them. Don't destroy." A pulse of readiness swept through the bridge as officers executed his orders. The Protector's cannons adjusted, their targeting arrays aligning with clinical precision. The air carried the dry scent of heated metal as weapons charged, energy spooling within their cores. "Fire!" Fox commanded. From the Protector's flanks, lances of searing plasma erupted, cutting across the battlefield in perfect synchrony. The first wave struck true. Alien ships convulsed under the impact, their hulls fracturing at critical points. Energy surges rippled across their frames, sending debris spiraling outward in silent eruptions. The enemy flagship, however, remained untouched. Fox's fingers curled against the edge of the command console. It wasn't evading. It wasn't retaliating. It simply loomed, its dark silhouette like an unbroken monolith. The Protector's scans revealed nothing. No damage, no energy fluctuations, nothing at all. "Something's wrong," Harrow murmured. His eyes darted over the readings, his breath shallow. "That ship isn't reacting. It's empty." The words sank like a stone in the command deck's charged atmosphere. Commander Tyne's expression darkened. "That doesn't make sense. Their entire fleet is following its lead. What the hell are they—" Before he could finish, the Protector's sensors erupted with warnings. The alien flagship pulsed, not with a weapon, not with movement, but with something more insidious. A deep vibration rippled through the ship's hull, reverberating like an unseen force pressing against reality itself. The lights flickered, screens flashed static, and for the first time in the battle the Protector faltered. Fox's blood ran cold. The enemy hadn't been defending. They had been waiting. "Brace for impact!" he shouted, gripping the console as the ship shuddered violently. The void itself seemed to bend, and then the unknown descended. The UHS Protector groaned as an unseen force twisted against its reinforced hull, sending tremors through the deck. Admiral Liam Fox clenched his jaw, his fingers digging into the console as gravity itself seemed to distort. Lights dimmed, flickered, then returned with an uneasy glow. The ship felt wrong, like it had drifted somewhere it wasn't supposed to be. "Status report!" Fox barked, his voice slicing through the disorienting chaos. Lieutenant Harrow fought against the shaking, his hands moving swiftly over his station. "Admiral, I don't know what just hit us, but it wasn't a weapon. No impact, no energy signatures, yet our internal systems are—" He hesitated, swallowing hard as his display continued to glitch. "It's like reality around us is shifting." Fox didn't like vague explanations, but his gut told him Harrow wasn't exaggerating. The alien flagship hadn't retaliated with brute force. It had done something far worse. "Engineering, stabilize all power systems. I want full control restored now," Fox ordered, his voice sharp with command. Lieutenant Harrow's fingers skimmed over the console, his eyes scanning the latest readings. "Direct hits on multiple vessels. Some have lost propulsion, others are scrambling to reroute power. Their formations are collapsing, but, sir, their flagship remains unaffected." Fox exhaled slowly, tasting the metallic sharpness of his own restraint. That ship, larger than the rest, stood firm while its fleet wavered, a lone mountain in the middle of a storm. "They anticipated this," he muttered, piecing together the implication. "Or they're more advanced than we thought." Commander Tyne crossed his arms, watching the display with narrowed eyes. "Either way, we have an opening. If we strike now, we can dismantle their fleet before they recover." Fox nodded, then turned to his weapons officer. "Prepare an alpha barrage. Target their command nodes and propulsion systems. Cripple them. Don't destroy." A pulse of readiness swept through the bridge as officers executed his orders. The Protector's cannons adjusted, their targeting arrays aligning with clinical precision. The air carried the dry scent of heated metal as weapons charged, energy spooling within their cores. "Fire!" Fox commanded. From the Protector's flanks, lances of searing plasma erupted, cutting across the battlefield in perfect synchrony. The first wave struck true. Alien ships convulsed under the impact, their hulls fracturing at critical points. Energy surges rippled across their frames, sending debris spiraling outward in silent eruptions. The enemy flagship, however, remained untouched. Fox's fingers curled against the edge of the command console. It wasn't evading. It wasn't retaliating. It simply loomed, its dark silhouette like an unbroken monolith. The Protector's scans revealed nothing. No damage, no energy fluctuations, nothing at all. "Something's wrong," Harrow murmured. His eyes darted over the readings, his breath shallow. "That ship isn't reacting. It's empty." The words sank like a stone in the command deck's charged atmosphere. Commander Tyne's expression darkened. "That doesn't make sense. Their entire fleet is following its lead. What the hell are they—" Before he could finish, the Protector's sensors erupted with warnings. The alien flagship pulsed, not with a weapon, not with movement, but with something more insidious. A deep vibration rippled through the ship's hull, reverberating like an unseen force pressing against reality itself. The lights flickered, screens flashed static, and for the first time in the battle the Protector faltered. Fox's blood ran cold. The enemy hadn't been defending. They had been waiting. "Brace for impact!" he shouted, gripping the console as the ship shuddered violently. The void itself seemed to bend, and then the unknown descended. The UHS Protector groaned as an unseen force twisted against its reinforced hull, sending tremors through the deck. Admiral Liam Fox clenched his jaw, his fingers digging into the console as gravity itself seemed to distort. Lights dimmed, flickered, then returned with an uneasy glow. The ship felt wrong, like it had drifted somewhere it wasn't supposed to be. "Status report!" Fox barked, his voice slicing through the disorienting chaos. Lieutenant Harrow fought against the shaking, his hands moving swiftly over his station. "Admiral, I don't know what just hit us, but it wasn't a weapon. No impact, no energy signatures, yet our internal systems are—" He hesitated, swallowing hard as his display continued to glitch. "It's like reality around us is shifting." Fox didn't like vague explanations, but his gut told him Harrow wasn't exaggerating. The alien flagship hadn't retaliated with brute force. It had done something far worse. "Engineering, stabilize all power systems. I want full control restored now," Fox ordered, his voice sharp with command. A shiver ran through the floor beneath them, more like an exhalation than an impact. The air carried a strange charge, as though the ship itself had been caught in an invisible current. Commander Tyne's voice was low, tight. "Admiral, something is wrong with our sensors. They aren't just scrambled. They're seeing things that aren't there." Fox turned sharply, his pulse quickening. "Elaborate." Tyne exhaled, tapping his display. "We're detecting objects that don't exist. Ships appearing and vanishing in impossible locations. The spatial coordinates are fluctuating, and some of our readings suggest," he hesitated, then looked Fox in the eye, "that we aren't entirely where we were a moment ago." Fox's fingers curled into a fist. The aliens hadn't just hit them, they had altered something fundamental. Space itself had bent, and the protector had been caught in the ripple. "Comms?" Fox snapped. "Still operational, but no response from the alien fleet," Harrow confirmed, though his tone was tight with unease. "They're holding position, completely motionless, like they're waiting for something." Fox turned back to the viewport. The alien flagship remained in place, untouched and unshaken. It wasn't a warship. It was something else entirely. A beacon? A conduit? The questions built like pressure behind his temples. "Admiral," Tyne muttered, his voice barely above a whisper. Fox followed his gaze. The stars, brilliant, fixed and eternal, had shifted. The constellations were wrong. It wasn't just the protector's position that had changed. They had been moved. Fox inhaled slowly, his mind racing through the implications. If they had been displaced, where exactly were they now? And more importantly, had the enemy planned this from the beginning? "Find us an answer." "Now," he ordered, the weight of the unknown pressing heavily against his ribs. Outside, the alien flagship remained silent, waiting, watching. Fox felt it then, a creeping certainty. The battle had never been about firepower. It had been about control, and they were no longer the ones holding it. Admiral Liam Fox forced himself to steady his breathing. The UHS Protector had been moved, displaced to an unknown region of space, the constellations unfamiliar, the enemy fleet still motionless, yet ever present. The weight of command pressed against his ribs, demanding not reaction, but calculated response. "Lieutenant Harrow, confirm all stellar navigation readings," Fox ordered, his voice sharp as steel. "I need to know exactly how far we've shifted." Harrow worked quickly, recalibrating the ship's stellar mapping system, his brow furrowed. "We're receiving conflicting data, sir. Some readings suggest we've been shifted a few hundred kilometers. Others show we've crossed entire sectors in an instant." Fox inhaled slowly. "That's impossible. Space-time distortion at that scale. Unless their technology manipulates quantum positioning," Commander Tyne interrupted, eyes dark with understanding. "They didn't just move us. They unanchored us. If we don't correct it, we might not even be in the same dimensional lock as our own system." Fox considered the implications, his mind a storm of strategy. "Options, now." Harrow ran calculations at a fevered pace, his fingers pressing into the console with force. "We need a reference point. Our navigation relies on gravitational fixed points, stellar bodies, black holes, known anomalies. If they've severed us from those, our systems are essentially blind." "Then we give ourselves a new anchor," Fox said. His gaze swept the tactical map. "Deploy an autonomous beacon, tuned to a quantum signature only we can detect. We'll use it as a temporary fixed point." Tyne nodded, already relaying instructions to engineering. "We'll have to set it on a stable trajectory, far enough away from any distortions. If it gets caught in whatever field they've trapped us in, it'll be useless." Fox turned to the weapons officer. "We need more than just a beacon. Prep a secondary drone with a directed energy pulse. If they've locked us inside a distortion field, we're testing for feedback loops. If there's an artificial perimeter, I want to know its structure. Minutes later, the Protector launched 2 small drones, their dark frames vanishing into the void. The first carried the quantum beacon, broadcasting a signal sharp enough to slice through gravitational noise. The second, the pulse drone, moved in a wide arc, preparing to fire bursts of energy at varying frequencies. Fox stood rigid as results poured in. "Talk to me." Harrow scanned the data. "Beacon is holding. Signal is stable." His voice tightened. "But the pulse drone, sir, it's encountering resistance. Something's out there. We just can't see it." Fox leaned over the display. The pulse patterns were distorting in a way that suggested something massive yet invisible surrounded them. A containment field? A natural phenomenon? "Redirect power to long-range sensors. If we can't see it, we'll map it another way," Fox ordered, voice unwavering. The Protector's scanners intensified, sending pulses rippling through the void. Fox's jaw set as he saw the first results. Distortions folding around them, shifting like an unseen tide. They weren't just displaced. They were trapped. Admiral Liam Fox studied the data pouring in from the Protector's sensors. The ship wasn't simply floating in unfamiliar space. It was encased. The pulse drone's readings showed distortions wrapping around them, shifting like invisible currents in a vast ocean. If they didn't find a way out soon, they risked losing all navigational bearings, possibly forever. "Commander Tyne, break down what we're dealing with," Fox ordered, his voice precise. Tyne tapped through the readings, his expression darkening. "It's a layered field, Admiral, not a simple energy barrier. The distortion is dynamic, almost adaptive. Every time our pulses interact with it, the field recalibrates. It's preventing us from pinpointing a consistent exit vector." Fox exhaled sharply, his mind dissecting the problem. "Then we stop hitting it the same way. If they designed this to counter conventional scanning and propulsion, we need an unconventional solution." Lieutenant Harrow, still analyzing the beacon's quantum readings, turned in his seat. "Sir, our beacon is holding, but something's wrong. The further we drift, the weaker the signal gets. Even though by all logic it shouldn't, it's almost as if space itself is stretching." Fox narrowed his gaze. "That means we're inside a gravitational distortion field, not just an energy trap. They're keeping us contained by altering spatial perception itself." Tyne frowned. "If that's true, then force alone won't get us out. Every push we make only reinforces the boundaries." Fox's mind raced. They were surrounded by something more complex than a simple blockade. This wasn't just a containment field. It was an adaptive prison. Any brute force attempt to escape would be absorbed and redirected. "Options," he demanded. Harrow's fingers moved swiftly across his console, running simulations. "If we can't push our way out, we alter the way we interact with the field itself. Right now, our ship's mass is making us an anchor inside the distortion. But if we artificially adjust our mass signature, if we make it seem as though we're part of the anomaly rather than resisting it." Tyne finished the thought. "We slip through instead of fighting against it." Fox nodded, grasping the strategy immediately. "We modify our gravity plating, adjust the ship's density signature to mimic the field itself. If we match its frequency, we'll momentarily become indistinguishable from the distortion." Harrow ran calculations. "We'll need to pulse the shift in waves, not all at once. If we create a sudden anomaly inside their field, they'll notice. But if we oscillate it over a sequence, they might not realize until it's too late." Fox turned to the crew. "Then let's make it happen. Modify the plating. Prepare the sequence." The ship's systems engaged, subtle pulses adjusting the Protector's density field layer by layer. The ship began to blend, phasing into the distortion, no longer fighting against it, but adapting. The moment of truth loomed. Either they would pass through unnoticed, or they would trigger whatever lay beyond the barrier. A shudder rippled through the Protector as the modified gravity plating engaged, shifting the ship's mass signature in calculated pulses. The distortion field no longer resisted. Instead, it wrapped around them, folding space like a liquid membrane, adjusting to an intruder it could no longer distinguish. Admiral Liam Fox stood rigid, his grip firm against the command console, watching the navigational data flicker in and out as reality itself warped around them. "Hold course," he ordered, his voice ablaze against the unknown. "Steady transition. No deviations." The crew obeyed, their hands moving with measured precision over their controls, every second stretched thin with the weight of consequence. 5% shift, Lieutenant Harrow announced, his fingers adjusting the sequence. Field recognition remains stable. Fox exhaled slowly. They were threading a needle through a force designed to contain them. A single miscalculation, a moment of hesitation, and the Protector would be crushed beneath the weight of an artificial gravity well with no escape. Tyne's voice was quieter, edged with something Fox had never heard from the seasoned officer. Wonder. "It's letting us through." Fox didn't celebrate. Not yet. "We haven't left the den. We're just moving past the teeth." The alien flagship loomed ahead, its dark silhouette motionless against the false night of distorted space. It had not pursued, had not fired, had not even acknowledged their maneuver. That was more unsettling than any attack. "Admiral, we're picking up something new." Harrow's voice carried an edge of urgency. "Weak signals, buried under the distortion's baseline frequency. It's not weapons. It's data." Fox's eyes sharpened. "From them?" Harrow hesitated, his face ghostly against the dim glow of the displays. "It's coming from inside the field itself." Tyne leaned in. "A message?" Fox's gut twisted. No, not a message. A test. He straightened, voice controlled but charged. "Decode it. Feed it through a protected relay. I want to know what's hiding in this storm." The ship's AI processed the raw patterns, translating them into something they could comprehend. The bridge fell silent. A voice, hollow and fractured, emerged through the speakers, laced with an unnatural echo. "You were not meant to leave." Fox felt the weight behind the words. Not a threat, but a statement. An expectation. The aliens had not sought battle, not in the way humans did. This wasn't a war of firepower. It was a war of limitation. They had placed barriers not to destroy humanity, but to keep them contained. And they had failed. Fox's lips curled, his voice steady as steel. "You thought you knew war." The Protector pushed through the last layer of distortion, breaking free. The field behind them folded inward, attempting to restore itself. The alien fleet remained, silent sentinels watching from the veil. Fox straightened, turning to his crew. They thought wrong. The Protector burned into the void, untethered, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Protector tore free from the anomaly, cutting through the void like a blade through fabric. The alien fleet remained motionless, their vessels statues against the backdrop of distorted space. No pursuit, no retaliation. Just the weight of unseen calculations pressing against them, as if the enemy was still trying to understand how humanity had broken their design. Admiral Liam Fox's grip tightened against the command console. They weren't running anymore. They weren't trapped. They were something new, a variable the enemy had failed to contain. "Status," he demanded, his voice firm. Lieutenant Harrow's fingers skimmed across his display. "We're clear. Quantum positioning stabilizing. Gravitational drift correcting." A brief pause. "They're still watching us." Fox exhaled through his nose, the adrenaline sharp in his blood. Watching, not engaging, not preventing their escape. A realization clawed at the edges of his mind. "They never planned to destroy us," he murmured. Commander Tyne's brow furrowed. "You think this was a test?" Fox's gaze remained locked on the display, where the alien flagship loomed like an eclipse against the stars. Containment, observation. They wanted to see if we'd comply. His jaw clenched. "We didn't." The comms panel crackled. A transmission, raw and fractured, scraped through their system. No visuals, only the same eerie voice as before. "You should not have left." Fox straightened, his pulse steady. He responded with a single, unwavering reply. "We decide where we go." Silence stretched between them and the fleet, an unspoken understanding settling like gravity itself. The aliens had learned something today, something their warships, their barriers, their technology had not accounted for. Harrow's voice was hushed. "They're standing down." Fox's lips curled slightly. Of course they were. Because for all their power, they had relied on one assumption, that humanity would see a boundary and respect it. They had been wrong. "Chart a course home," Fox ordered, turning from the viewport. "Let them sit there and wonder how they miscalculated." The Protector surged forward, slipping into the black. The alien fleet faded into the distance, their designs, their intentions, their limits now an unanswered question. But the answer was already clear. They had underestimated what a single human battleship could do. And the next time the universe tried to put a wall in front of them, it would remember this day. Not a species to be contained, not a force to be managed, but something far worse. Unpredictable,